Hey guys, Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. Welcome to a regular conventional episode of Double Shot of Steelers. Steelers practiced much earlier today out in Latrobe to try to avoid the weather that's only really now starting to hit here in downtown. It's going to take a little while longer to get out across Westmoreland County, but they did practice. And there's lots to report from there. Chris Halleck will be joining us after the break to do some of that. And for those of you who are formerly fans of the Pirates, who just decided to try one of the other teams, welcome.
Good one.
You like that?
Yeah, that was funny.
I mean, what are you doing over there? Come on over here. There are two teams on this side of the river, not just one, that care. There are two teams over here that care about, winning, competing, taking care of their good players, that kind of stuff. So come on over here. We got room on this boat for more. Don't waste your time over there. You guys are following a team that does care, and you're following a team that, boy, I don't know that they've made all the right moves this summer, as you've heard me saying along the way, but I know that they really believe they've got something. That's what I want to share with you today before Chris comes in and we start getting into the more technical stuff. Conversations that I've had in Latrobe, including this week, have me thinking bigger thoughts about this team than I had before those conversations. Now, what does that mean exactly? I have a sense that people who I've trusted, who I've known for a long time, understand what's happening under the hood. And today happens to be a day where you saw some of that play out on the practice field. I did my morning podcast today, the Daily Shot podcast, was about how the offense is going to bounce back. Don't sweat this, whatever. I also wrote about that from Latrobe last night. They weren't going to be anywhere near as disjointed or thrown out of whack as they were yesterday. And they weren't. They had another level. They had another tier that they could rise to. Why? Because they have weapons. They have players, and as you're going to find out, they also have a coordinator. The people who keep attaching him to Matt Canada and stuff like that are in for a rude awakening, or a pleasant awakening, depending on your perspective on this. This is going to be a decent offense. I don't think it's going to be great. I don't think it's going to be something where, they're going to carry the team for 3 or 4 weeks at a time while the defense gets its act together. I think it's going to be the other way around. But there are real live players. And as long as the defense was going to do some of its stuff yesterday, they were coming off the edges like crazy. It was almost like they were scheming against their own team. But you could tell that the offense wasn't prepared for a lot of this stuff that came flying through. All right. So befitting a camp atmosphere and befitting competitive people, befitting people who know what it is that they're doing and know what it is that they attempt to make themselves better for the purposes of winning games, unlike a certain other team across the river. This is what you do. This is what you do. You become better. And they went and they changed some stuff around. Steeler South says, I really like Arthur Smith. You'd have liked him a lot today because he said, all right, defense, you got this. I got this. And they lined up in some weird settings. There was one in which there were 4 tight ends on the field, no running backs, and Jonnu Smith was the guy in the back. Jonnu Smith got the ball, ran a sweep. Why? Because he's done it before, and he shrugged it off afterward like it was no big deal. Because for him, it really wasn't a big deal at all. So you guys got yourself a team that's going to have both sides of the ball. I told you last night and again this morning, don't panic on this stuff. They're going to be just fine. Again, not great, but just fine. David Weiss files a formal complaint here. Can we do this without bringing up Matt Canada? It ruins my day every time I hear his name. Chad says Arthur will hold his court and Canada is not comparable. No, I mean, they never were. They never were. And if you watch the games and you see something that you don't like, and the first thing that you yell out is Matt Canada, it's an unbecoming and inaccurate reflex. This guy's got a good head on his shoulders, a good awareness. He's got a real. One of my favorite things about Artie is that he's got a sense of humility about him. He doesn't think he's more important than he is. He doesn't think he's not one of those guys either that was like, well, I was the head coach in Atlanta and now I have to come here and be somebody's coordinator. That's not him either at all. Okay. He's here to win. He wants to win more than anything. That's what he's building toward. Mike says, Artie looks like he's trying out some new and innovative things this season. I haven't seen that in forever. Yeah. I mean, just embrace that alone. The set in which Jonnu Smith was in the backfield is not something that anybody's going to be ready for. Even they catch it on, this is one of those things they don't want you getting on film at the, if you're one of the fans or certainly not one of the reporters who's there, they don't want you putting that on film because they don't want the Ravens to get a hold of that. Well, the Ravens won't be able to stop that even if they do get a hold of it, because they're not going to know what to do with it because it's just not normal. And the more that you can take advantage of the smarts that you have on either side of the ball, the greater the chance you're going to achieve next level stuff. There's that term again. I want to see this team get really smart on both sides of the ball. We've talked about it a lot on defense. We need to talk about it a little bit more on offense. You've got yourself the quarterback for that, for sure. William has a question before we go to break. Says, hey, DK, is Calvin Austin better than last year? I saw a clip of him catching a touchdown. The route looked smoother than butter. It's training camp. Cal was a pretty good player in real live NFL games. I'm not going to compare that to what he's doing in drills. I like Cal a lot. You guys know that. I like that Cal gets better, not on a year-by-year basis, but on a week-by-week basis. It's who he is. And in camp, I really like that Cal's been, let's put it this way. The offense was getting its face rubbed in it yesterday, okay? There was a playground bully out there shoving the offense's face like this in the dirt. And Cal was the one who was scrapping and fighting and everything else. And that's not even his personality, meaning the fighting part or being combative. He didn't like how the offense was getting really emasculated, for lack of a better term. Go ahead and look that one up because it works. It really works, actually. When we come back, guys, we're going to be joined by Chris Halleck and talk a lot more about today's practice and the offense striking back.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
All right, guys, welcome back. And as promised, Chris Halleck is joining us here as soon as the boss drops him into his little box over there. There he is.
Hey.
What's going on over there?
Hey. Gotta get my whole studio set back up again, man. Like the entire thing got torn down because training camp started.
Bus driver Al says that Arthur has the guys to try new things. He does. And Arthur struck back as well. Arthur got a little tired of seeing everybody coming in off the edges. And you can do that. I'll show you 4 tight ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was probably the most interesting thing of the entire practice. Having one play in 04 personnel, or just whatever you want to call it. No running backs, 4 tight ends. Jonnu Smith lined up in the backfield and taking a pitch to the right side. That was interesting. I thought that was, again, when we're talking about, are we just going to see the same old offense? No.
No. And Arthur, and the one thing that I think has to be, you have to be a regular out there, whether that's a media or fan or whoever. You have to be a regular to know that offense versus defense, or defense versus offense, is taken very seriously from a competitive standpoint. They are not trying to make each other look good. They're not trying to help each other. They want to defeat the other guys, and they want to make them look bad. And then after they make them look bad, they want to yell in their direction to let them know that they have looked bad. And if necessary, share with the crowd that same observation. Okay. I'm thinking of Brandon Eccles yesterday on Ramon Wilson. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what we're talking about here. So I would have expected after a session like yesterday that Arthur and everybody on the offense was going to be like, hey, guys, no. Okay. If we got to pull some stuff out of the deep in the book, we're going to do it.
Yeah. Listen, I can't actually confirm this via sources or anything like that, but I have a good feeling that the offense got a stern talking to after practice yesterday.
Or today, when they got there. It'd be either one. Yeah.
Yeah, either one. But because the offense looked visibly different today. It wasn't just the fact that, they're connecting on more passes. They look cleaner. It was also pre-snap stuff. It was Rodgers' cadence. It was the direct communication that was happening between Rodgers and the rest of the eligibles out there, or even the offensive line. And Rodgers even joked yesterday about how Zach Frazier is making more calls in terms of protections at the line than Rodgers is, and Rodgers like, oh, don't get used to that. I'm going to be
used to that. I'm taking charge. I love that answer. I love that.
So, but it's still it's good to actually see this and listen. There's no, like, Rodgers is a soft-spoken guy in interviews and stuff like that. He is not soft-spoken whatsoever when he's at the line communicating. That is being heard louder than any other quarterback than they got on this roster. So,
and that's saying something, considering Mr. Cadence is one of the quarterbacks in that room, meaning Mason Rudolph, who booms across the entirety of Westmoreland County whenever he yells things out here. David Kranak says, hey, DK, now that Roman Wilson has taken some special team snaps, how's Wilson's camp going overall? He bounced back a little bit today, Chris.
He sure did. It wasn't like necessarily overall like a great day for him. His route running did look a bit more crisp today. There were a couple of times in which I saw Rodgers directly go to Wilson right after a rep, and they were definitely talking, and Rodgers is probably telling him what he wants to see out of that. But during one-on-ones, Joey Porter Jr. has coverage on him. It's a go ball down. Mason Rudolph throws it. It's like a tad underthrown. I'm really nitpicking at that. It's not one of those ones that he's just running full stride and it just falls over the shoulder right there. He had to go up and get it, but he went up and got it at the highest point and came down with it right over the top of Joey. That's not the easiest thing to do. And he made it look really easy too. And so you saw the flash of the athleticism, the ability, and you just wondered, like, man, if he can really put the route running stuff together, this could be a guy. This could be a guy that they envisioned when they took him in the third round in the draft.
The if on the route running is doing a lot of lifting. He has to get a lot better. And I have a feeling that whenever you were hearing all the stuff about, missing the boats or whatever it was that he was missing last year, that had a lot to do with that. They just weren't ready to put him on the field and have him run routes that weren't going to be of an NFL caliber. So he's out there doing that now. That's going to have people excited because he does have the athleticism. He's not, he's not 5'6" or something. He also can play the position from a height perspective too. Although, what is he, 6'0"?
He's either 5'11" or 6 feet. He might be a little shorter than 6 feet.
It might depend on the.
I do remember whatever Deontay Johnson's size was, he's very similar to Deontay.
Yeah, if only he was similar to Deontay in terms of route running, but not necessarily similar to Deontay in terms of what he does after he catches the football here. Sean Evans says, DK and Chris, Ben Cherington is a baseball terrorist. I am so thankful for your Steelers camp distractions. They don't have to be a distraction, people. I'm telling you, there are two teams on this side of the water that care. Okay? There's two. There's one over there that doesn't. Simple as that. Everyone's come on aboard. You know, we wouldn't be the only two-sport town. What's another good two-sports town?
I got to think for a little bit on that.
Buffalo has the
St.
NFL,
Louis might be not now.
St. Louis is now, though they have MLS. That gets into some murky territory as to whether or not that's not a sport. Of course, it's a sport. I'm just saying whether it's a major league.
MLS isn't real soccer.
And then comes the European soccer snob over there.
It's not.
No, unless they refer to the city as a plural, then it's not really a soccer town. So the Riverhounds are not going to be anything special in our world until we're able to say things like Pittsburgh are successful. Andrew Watkins points out Baltimore and Indy. We can do this. You know,
Indy's a good one.
Indy's a good one here. Jack Long says, I believe Aaron Rodgers' experience and knowledge won't only benefit Mason Rudolph and Will Howard, but the whole offense. That's kind of hard to dispute. I mean, when you're talking about guys, listen, there are certain things that happened over the course of this summer, including when Chris and I would go back and forth at it. Okay. The one thing you never heard me say was, A, can't throw anymore. Everyone could see that the arm was there. And B, he doesn't know what he's doing. Okay. This was everything that I was bringing up had to do with whether or not he was fully invested, which even he was doubting outwardly. And B, whether or not he can handle the rigors at an age that he himself has obviously never experienced, kind of like all of us every day that we wake up. So he's 41. He's going to have to find a way to tough it out. But these other traits, they're still there. Chris, tell us about Rodgers' day.
Much cleaner today. Missed on a couple of passes, but nothing egregious. Again, quarterbacks aren't going to be perfect. They're going to miss passes. Josh Allen misses passes in practice. Like everybody misses passes in practice. But again, everything just seemed to operate a lot cleaner. And I do believe that Rodgers is a big part of that. You know, if Pat Friermuth is the one who kind of explained that for me after today's practice, you know, when I asked him like what one of his favorite things was about this offense in particular, he's played under Matt Canada, he's played under the Faulkner Sullivan, interimness. If that makes any sense, that's not a word, but and then obviously 1 year of Arthur Smith, but this is not the same offense as last year. And Rodgers was his answer. You know, I mean, there are a lot of things to be taken about this offense. You could talk about fit. You could talk about DK Metcalf being here. He pointed right to Rodgers.
And let's go ahead and you have the Friermuth on video, right?
I do.
Yeah, let's put that up here. I got it right here. Here it is.
Pat, you've played in a number of offenses with this team. You've played, I mean, even last year. I know you can't go into like specific X's and O's, but is there something about the offense this year that's really exciting you?
I think just obviously having Aaron at quarterback, I think opens up a lot of possibilities schematically, and just him being able to see the game. And he's kind of like a football junkie, and so just the way he is able to put us in looks by himself and get us in the right concept and stuff. That's probably the biggest difference.
I want to peel back the curtain here just a little bit as it applies to Mr. Friermuth. Okay, Pat was one of the guys who was in on the Aaron Rodgers train. That was it. It was the moving train for Roman Wilson. Now I remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Pat wasn't the driver of the moving train. Okay. That was Mike Tomlin. But Pat was on that next car. Okay. And Pat was very much instrumental in this. Pat wanted Friermuth there. Pat is good friends with Mason Rudolph, has a ton of respect for Mason. He was one of the guys, it can be known now, who really was backing Mason at the time that Mason was carrying them into the playoffs. But Pat was behind Rodgers. And I think you're going to see signs like that where he answers questions like that and where he comes through as he has on the field related to Rodgers. And that's just something that I think is a good thing to have on the record in advance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, it is a different dynamic that the Steelers have not had since Ben Roethlisberger was quarterback. Because even though you had Russell Wilson last year, who was a veteran guy, played in the league for well more than a decade, won a Super Bowl, it's a different kind of veteran. He made his living doing different things than what Aaron Rodgers did. And Aaron Rodgers, when we're talking career versus career, Rodgers has the much better career. But in terms of the communication ahead of the snap, and getting the offense into the right play, into the right look, or how to attack the defense before the ball is snapped, between the time the play is called in the huddle and when the ball is snapped, Ben had a really good eye and mind for that in his last several years. Even after the arm went and he came back, he still had everything between the ears. Rodgers has this, and Rodgers, dare I say, was and has been even better than Ben was at this throughout his career. So let's see how it affects this particular offense. Now, you can go back to the Jets and say, well, it didn't work out in New York. Well, there are a lot of reasons why it didn't work in New York. So let's see what it does here, because this is not the same situation. This is not the 2024 Jets, folks. This is just not. It's a very, very different offense, and I'm curious to see how it's actually going to play out once they actually start playing other teams.
Such a big factor in this season, too, that it feels to me like it's being certainly not by Chris, but by others possibly underplayed, because Chris suffered through all 17 of that, 17 games of that.
Every drop back that miserable team. Drop back.
Paul asks, do you see that Rodgers possibly coming back for a second season if this year is a success? I mean, dude, they haven't played the first game yet. I mean, generally speaking, when an athlete says this is going to be it tends to be it, because then he has to go through this whole thing internally. I don't mean putting everybody else through it. He has to go through everything internally all over again next year. I don't see that. And if it's enormously successful, I mean, like if the Steelers win the Super Bowl or something, then you can be Jerome.
Yeah, you can literally ride off into the sunset. You can say, I got my second ring. I've won 4 MVPs. And if he leads them to a Super Bowl win, Aaron Rodgers is gonna earn MVP votes. Like that, there's no denying that. So that I don't think it's gonna necessarily be that. I'm not ready to go there with this team just yet, but I don't think that it has to end in a Super Bowl win in order for Aaron Rodgers to say, yep, I'm fine riding off the sunset.
I'm ready for more. Yeah, I want to run it back with these guys. We came close. I want to run it back.
He could. And listen, that doesn't stop the Steelers from drafting a franchise quarterback next year. It does not. Again, Patrick Mahomes sat for a year behind Alex Smith before he became the starter. I mean, and he was a 10th overall pick. So
our good friend Kerry Russell comes in with one gift, as always. David Cranack shows up with 10. Bert comes in with 20. I appreciate all of those contributions. If you're getting a gift membership, know that that's only going to last you for a month, and then you got to go get one of your own. Way to do that to support this program. Principally, there's other stuff that comes with it, but we know that in your case, it's coming from the heart that you want to just support the show. It's dkps.net/join, and make sure that we can continue doing all these types of extra shows and everything else. Man, wait till you see what we got planned for tomorrow. Speaking of that, not least of which I should bring up is going to be the Ramon Foster show. I communicated with Ramon, and for a whole bunch of reasons on both ends, we wanted to push the show back to Friday. So it'll be Friday, as in tomorrow, at 2 p.m. Eastern. And Ramon is really looking forward to this one.
Oh,
okay. I can tell you that.
Okay. Well, so when Ramon, like, I don't know, but like there are some times where Ramon has a show and you know afterward, like, wow, that was something special. When he's excited going into a show,
Oh yeah, that's right. He's bringing it in advance here.
Yeah.
Donan is heading out to Friday Night Lights. Chris will be there. I don't ever draw a straw that short in this company. That's a tough logistical event to cover. No thanks. Donan wants to know if Chris is going to be there. No, he wants to know if I'm going to be there. The answer is an expletive no, but Chris will be there.
I will be
that
there.
Short straw.
Yeah. So I can tell you right now, and we were actually like among all the reporters, sometimes we have funny conversations in there. And a few of us like decided that Friday Night Lights is like the worst night of the year for in terms of reporting. It just is. Like in the entire NFL calendar. Like of all the things that we have to do.
The boss wants to know why. Why don't we lay that out instead of just saying it?
Okay, so it is bad because number one, there's nowhere to actually sit down and do work.
Can't do the work.
We are bussed over. The only good thing about
school
it is
buses.
we ride in school buses with the team to the stadium, to Latrobe Memorial Stadium, so that we at least avoid the traffic portion of it, which would already make my anxiety go through the roof if I had to deal with that. But so that's the good part of it. The other part of it is, again, there is not good internet. There's no good Wi-Fi. I'm having to do everything from my phone, trying to send video either to YouTube or to our company Slack so that people can help me out is a nightmare. There's so much going on because you want to tell everybody what's going on, just like you do at a normal training camp practice. And then it's a mad rush to try to interview players afterward because
they're heading to the buses. Yeah,
they're going straight to the buses, and you're like, well, I got to get on those same buses too. And it's not like once you're on the bus, you can whip out the phone and be like, hey, hey, Cal, you got a second? No, it's over by that point. So it's
all right.
Meet the players.
You get to meet the players. That's what people say to the reporters. Yeah, but you get to meet the players.
I talk with the players every day.
This is the stuff that we say to each other. And by the way, that Chris and I are going to say to each other in Jacksonville, Florida in a few days. When look at his face. Did you see his face? Just look at it. It's just, yeah.
It's a grimace.
Our travel itinerary. And this is my fault completely. Okay. Kind of.
Okay, good. I don't have to say anything about that.
No. I'll say it. We have to go from Everbank Field or whatever the Jaguars are calling their place this week.
Everbank Field,
whatever the hell it's called. So we're going right from the stadium to the airport because our flight out of there is at 5 a.m. And then we switch through Atlanta. So we're literally everything that we're going to be reporting for you on video and writing and all that other stuff is going to be done like on zero sleep. And what we'll do is we'll sit there at the gate and look at each other and go, hey, you get to meet the players.
Ever Stankfield. That's funny.
It's not ever. She's taking it seriously.
That's funny.
They are terrible though.
It's good stuff.
Let's. I have a couple other good questions here that I've been here. I like this one here from Matt Masarek, who says, really deflating hearing that Kaleb Johnson is getting owned in backs on backers. Was hoping he'd be a big part of the offense. Oh, dude, thought he'd be a lot more physical. Before I throw it to Chris, because I know he's got some strong feelings on this as well. Backs on backers isn't what it used to be. Okay, the backs are different. The backers are different. Okay, the backs are not Jerome Bettis and Tim Lester and Dan Kreider anymore. Okay, they're smaller guys. Okay. They are nails tough, which is the point of the drill. It's not necessarily to win it, or how did you put it, to get owned in it. The idea is to demonstrate your toughness, get in the guy's way. You don't have to obliterate him. From the backer's perspective, think about how the inside linebacker position has changed since Ryan Shazier broke through. I mean, it's just not the same thing. You could have looked at Peyton Wilson 10 years ago and said that guy is either a safety or he's not on this football field. And so the whole thing is don't blow something like this out of proportion. Kaleb Johnson needs to be able to secure his blocks. He needs to read blitzes. He needs to have protection and all that other stuff in order. More than anything, he needs to miss people. Don't forget that.
Yeah, the most important thing for Kaleb Johnson is obviously being a good runner, being a good running back. But in terms of the backs on backers drill, I mean, even the defensive players are saying, listen, this drill is skewed towards us so much.
They say it. Yeah.
And like that's what I'm saying. Like they say it. Like the running back can't cut go down and cut the legs out from under the linebacker, and you are just standing there waiting for a linebacker to block a linebacker who's running at you full head of steam. You are going to get knocked backwards. Even when Jaylen Warren stands somebody up, he gets knocked backwards. Like, yes, he technically won a rep against Patrick Queen, but Patrick Queen still knocked him backwards, and Warren had to kind of like move him off to the side a little bit in order to really kind of win the rep. Kaleb Johnson just needs to work on the technique whenever he has linebackers running at him at full speed. He's going to get plenty of opportunities in that. But again, a big part of blitz pickup is not actually blocking the guy. Sure, that's obviously a big part of it. You have to block the guy that you're responsible for, but it's also knowing who you're picking up. It's identifying, it's hearing the pass protection that's called, knowing, okay, pass protection is going to the right. So on this particular call, I have to pick up whoever's coming on the backside, if there is anybody. And if there is, that's who I have to identify and then go block them. They can do that with Jaylen Warren. He knows that stuff. They can, and Zach Frazier said they can leave him on an island. That's the kind of stuff that Kaleb Johnson has to learn too.
Bill asks if Spencer Anderson can play tackle. I actually asked him that when he showed up for camp, and he said, I think, first off, he can. Okay, he's played all 5 positions. Yeah. That was the way his training camp went 2 years ago in Latrobe. It was actually kind of a gimmick thing where he went from left to right the whole way across the line. Right. In this case, Spence can play tackle. Yes, you get to an emergency, but he's told me that he said in his words, he goes, I think my tackle days are over. They want him to just focus on being a backup guard or starting guard, whichever the case might be. They want him to be a guard in that room. They do want him and expect him to have the flexibility to be a left or a right guard, depending on the need. Right now, that need has been taking Isaac Seumalo's place here. We'll see how that goes over time here. Isaac's obviously going to start.
Yeah. When Isaac's healthy, and he did get activated from the non-football injury list today. So his road to getting fully back is, he's continuing to go down that, and that's a big checkpoint. Is number one, getting activated from that list. He only took part in individual stuff and stretching and stuff like that today. No team drills whatsoever. Broderick Jones also no team drills whatsoever. So they're taking their time with him. But yeah, Spencer Anderson, yes, he can technically play tackle, but their plans for him are purely at guard.
Chris Welch asks the hardest question we're going to get asked today and every day. And that is, how has the competition on the interior and the lines up front looked? The battles in 11-on-11 of Zach Frazier and Mason McCormick versus Derek Harmon and Y.A. Black seem worth evaluating on both sides. They are, Chris. I'm going to get practical on you here, okay? And I'm going to also share with you that anybody who claims to know how someone is doing on some very precise level, this stuff is just making it up because you can't see it. Okay, you're on the sideline. I don't know how coaches do it. Okay, media is on the sideline. And in most cases, not all cases, we're looking from the side. Okay, Now when I have made up my mind, and Chris has seen me do this, when I've made up my mind to watch line play, I go back. I go back about 20, 25 yards. I think you do the same thing, right, Chris?
Yeah, I do.
And you just lock in and hope. When I say hope, I mean you hope that a coach doesn't walk in front of you, that a security personnel doesn't walk in front of you. It becomes really, really tough. And guess what? This is the biggest point. There's no video. Okay, unless it's being shot illegally, in which case, go root for the Ravens, right?
Right.
You don't have a chance the way you do with all 22 film or even just a casual replay on TV. So I really feel like that's worth pointing out, because if you ever see, hear, or read someone's appearing to be all expert about what's happening on the interior line, they're either doing something they're not supposed to be doing or they're just making it up. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, a big part of this entire process, and this is not just a plug to say, hey, go follow our work, but go follow our work, because a big part of this is talking with people who are there. And I'm not talking about just at practice. I'm talking about like after hours type stuff. Whenever I run into Pat Meyer at a local watering hole and I have a chance to have a conversation with him, or an actual player. You know, you run into players sometimes. You know, around Latrobe's not that big of a town, folks. And so, you know, you go around and you run into people and you talk with, members of the coaching staff, or you talk with other evaluators, scouts, you know, who are there, pro scouts who are there, they're watching practice too. And you have conversations with them and you say, hey, how's this guy doing? And not just how he's doing on the field, how's he doing in the classroom? You know, what kind of things are you hearing like in the classroom? Like that's important stuff. And that's how you also learn that too.
And they are studying the film. They're doing filming. Okay, they're doing intensive filming and breaking it down, and their scouts break it down. So when you have a coach say, hey, so-and-so has showed well, even after a practice, you know, Mike Tomlin is not shy on some days about saying, hey, so-and-so showed real well. Okay, he'll drop a couple of names because he wants them to, he don't care what we think. He wants them, those players, to hear that he saw what they did. Him bringing up Troy Fautanu, for example, after day one of pads stood out. Why? Because the Steelers defense had a lot of penetration on that side, but it wasn't on Troy. They were coming off of a wider edge than that here. Donan, he says something deeply offensive here. He says, I'm thinking about coming to the shop around showtime and then hitting. What do you mean you're thinking? Dude, we're right here. Come and see us. I'll be here. The boss will be here. Chris is going to be. Where's Chris going to be again?
Tomorrow? I'll be at home. I'll be here.
Okay, but where's he headed after that?
To meet the players.
Meet the players.
To meet the players. Oh, boy.
At Latrobe Memorial Stadium. By the way, a friendly reminder, because it happens to so many people every year. Don't go to St. Vincent College tomorrow night. Don't do it.
It's not where it is.
It's not where it is.
Latrobe Memorial.
Believe it or not, the town of Latrobe is bigger than St. Vincent College, and there's another stadium there. And that's where this will be here. So, yeah, Donan, it's not optional. You got to stop here. We're at 224 Fifth Avenue. We'll be here. Look how easily Donan is coerced. Look at that. Look at that. Comes in with, I am coming to the store, in his James Earl Jones voice.
If he doesn't come in a suit, we won't recognize him.
That's true. Yeah, he's all Natalie attired there in that avatar of his. Yeah, you got to come in like dressed to the nines. Mike says how lucky Chris is that he gets to meet the players. Yeah. John says, I just got here with the Steelers bringing in a defensive tackle for a workout. Does that give any indication of that? We're really down the depth chart there on that one, John. Don't worry about that kind of stuff. So to date, the Steelers have done really well in terms of maintaining their health and the chart that they've got here. Tasha says, and you know what? I think she speaks for a lot of us, and I'll include myself in this one. Will the offensive line give Aaron Rodgers enough protection? That's all I care about, period. Tasha, the answer to that is we don't know. And as much as everyone would love to have that comfort, as Mike Tomlin describes it, I'm not seeking comfort in certain knowledge, you're not going to have it. You've got to see them on the field. You got to see them first get solid individually and then merge collectively. And those are not often something that happens simultaneously. So you got to have Troy Fautanu believing in himself. You've got to have Mason McCormick feeling like, yeah, I'm ready for a year or two in which I can be a better player than I was. You got to have Zach Frazier. You got to do this all the way across, and then you get over to Broad. And Broad's got to cleanse out all his demons that I don't even know that he can do in the preseason. Okay, they got to get to New Jersey, and they've got to have themselves a game, and then they've got to have another big game the week after that here.
It's very true. I mean, listen, there will be a good amount of quick game in the offense. There just will, not only because that's a one way to protect your quarterback, by getting rid of the ball quick. But Aaron Rodgers is still very good and very efficient at running that stuff. As long as he has receivers that can, he has good chemistry and timing with, and that's what they're working on now in training camp. And there have been some days, even earlier on, where the quick game looks pretty okay. You're like, all right, I can see this working. But it's the play action concepts that try to attack a little deeper downfield. It's the pure drop back passes that try to attack a little like the intermediate portion and the deeper portion. That's the kind of stuff that they're going to have to figure it out. And, obviously NFL defenses are very, very good. They're not going to let Aaron Rodgers hit his first read every single time. He's going to have to work through his progressions. He still can. We didn't get much of a chance to see how often he still can last year, because by the time he's even trying to get to a second read, he was under duress. So that's a big, big if, because if the Steelers can protect long enough for that to happen, then maybe we see a better version of Aaron Rodgers this year.
I know better than to start getting into criticizing Will Howard, because that's a great way to become persona non grata in the nation. Everybody has really built him up, and it's something. Wow.
Will Howard.
Everybody needs to go easy on this. Florida Dave asks, have you seen more zip on the throws from Howard? I will say that I saw more yesterday than I had seen previously. Okay.
He had one today that was good too.
Did he? Good. Okay.
Yeah, on an out route. Yeah.
Understand, when we're talking about zip on throws, we're not talking about him as if he's got some noodle arm. Okay. We're talking about confidence, accuracy, timing. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you're just placing the ball, it's showing a lack of NFL confidence in a lot of ways. Okay. It's showing, I think I can get the ball there, but I don't think I can necessarily get it there so perfectly here, Cal, just kind of catch this one, please, pretty please.
Yeah.
No. Okay. There's minor leagues and then there's the major leagues. Whatever you thought of what he did at Ohio State, it's minor league football. Okay. And he has to take it up to this level. Two reasons for that. Okay. One is that it's a lower level of football. And the other is receivers in college are college open, as the phrase goes. Okay. They're wide open. You have
Ohio State.
You have pockets, right. Because they tend to have good ones. You have pockets where you could just put it in somebody's zip code. And if you go back over the only half of football, the only half of college football that I forced myself to watch from last season, I'm not a college football guy at all, was Will Howard's first half against whoever the heck Ohio State played in that championship game.
Notre Dame.
Yeah. Okay. So he completed, I think it was 15 out of 16 passes in the first half. And
I don't remember the exact numbers, but yeah.
It's somewhere in that range, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, all right, well, that sounds pretty impressive. Let's see what this kid's got. So I'm watching this and I'm going, all right, that's great. But what I saw were 15 college completions to 15 college open receivers. What he needs to learn from, Dave, more than anything, is not the one, but the two guys ahead of him. Okay. Mm-hmm. Rodgers has had zip on his passes from day one. Mason Rudolph needed time to learn that. Mason did not. If you guys remember his first couple of seasons, he couldn't throw a soft pass to save his life. He didn't have touch passes. It was either aired out to James Washington or bust.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Well, he learned.
Yeah.
He learned. And you look at the zip between Rodgers and then Mason, and then Howard comes on and it's neek.
Yeah.
But it's different. To answer your question, Dave, he's gotten better at it, and he will get better at it.
Yeah, the one thing that I will consistently say about Rodgers, and it's really, really fascinating because, DK and I were talking about this on the sideline one day. He's like, the conundrum with Peyton Manning at the end of his career was the fact that his arm went, but he had so much between the ears he could still operate. That's not Rodgers' situation here. The arm is still very, very much strong and live, and the release is still very, very quick. And that's the thing, is that Rodgers flicks it. Howard, whenever he makes that throw, and the one that he had today, again, really good. I mean, thrown with anticipation, on an out route, led him perfectly, right on the money, and good oomph behind it. Mm-hmm. It was thrown with a good amount of confidence. but the release time was probably about twice as long as Rodgers. Now, that's not saying that Howard's release was horribly slow, but that's just how fast Rodgers throws the ball sometimes. So, yeah, it's good to see that from Howard in spurts. But again, this is why this is a developmental year for Will Howard. He was a 6th-round pick for a reason. He was not he's not some sort of 2nd-round pick. Every team in the league passed on him for 5 rounds. And
every team, including Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Okay.
Every
and teams
single
that
team
needed quarterbacks and teams that, it's funny how that works. And they didn't do it because, they didn't feel like it or whatever. They did it because they saw something that they didn't like. Sean says this might sound silly, but when they're doing 7 shots or 11 on 11, does the offense know what the defense is going to be doing and vice versa? How much do these exercises emulate reading your opponent? The answer to that is that no, they don't know what the defense is doing. Yes, there's going to be more familiarity with the defense's tendencies. So you're not going to see, for example, the safety getting disguised. You're not going to see something where, like at the line, the quarterback goes up to. Okay, but I'm just because we don't even know who these people are, right? Coverage people, okay.
Yeah.
But in a general sense, the quarterback does not approach the line of scrimmage and go, "Where's Minka?" the way you would in years past. Okay.
Right.
You're focused more on your own execution and your own people and where they're aligned. Okay, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, it is more that. It is more, this is the play called in the huddle. And then everybody has to because again, the install process is still happening right now. And so even Aaron Rodgers even said the way that it works for him whenever he becomes an expert on the offenses, whenever he breaks the huddle, he can literally see the play, like a picture of the play in his mind as he's going to the huddle. And so at that point, it is the offense getting on the same page with what they're trying to run. And then it's Rodgers' job, along with the offensive line, to identify, okay, what coverage is it? Is it middle field open, middle field closed? Is it man? Is it zone? It's their job to identify and then execute based off of that. And that's when Rodgers will. And even then, he said, there will be times in which I would probably either check in or check out of a certain play, but I'm not going to right now because it's, if it's run team, I'm just going to hand the ball off and we're just going to run it because it's run team. We got to practice this stuff. But it's if the defense is showing certain things, like in a game, I might actually check out of that because if we try to run into this, Joey Porter Jr. is going to hit Jalen Warren in the backfield, So even then, training camp is still very, very much barely even a simulation of what will happen in an actual game, even a preseason game.
Our last question for the day, and before I read it, I just have to point out something here, and maybe you guys have noticed this as well. How about all of the questions from Facebook today?
That's good.
I don't think I've ever seen that on this show. Just left and right from Facebook today. Usually the algorithm isn't all that friendly to us over there. But hey, welcome. For anybody who doesn't know, this show makes it around to all of these various platforms in various forms. We welcome all members. The members in particular have to come through YouTube. That's just something I want to make clear here. You can't do that because we've had people ask me questions on Facebook like, can you become a member from there? No. You have to come to YouTube and then go to dkps.net/join. Andrew asks, will the running game be setting up play action? It better. Will the running backs be strong enough, Chris?
I'm not as worried about the running backs as I am about the offensive line. I'm really, really not. I mean, Jalen Warren, he's proven what he can do with open holes and even whenever he doesn't have the holes. Kaleb Johnson showed what he can do whenever he's running NFL type wide zone, outside zone, mid zone, whatever concepts at Iowa. And when those are blocked up well, then yeah, you can, he's shown what he can do. But how often can Kaleb Johnson create for himself when things are not blocked up? How can Jalen Warren create for himself consistently when things aren't blocked up? Kenny Gainwell. I'm not as worried about the running backs right now. I'm more worried about the offensive line because it's not like you've got Saquon Barkley back there or Derrick Henry back there, guys who are elite at creating for themselves whenever things aren't blocked up perfectly. So I'm curious. I'm more concerned about the offensive line paving the way for those running backs because I think even if they have, again, I think even if they're average at run blocking, I don't think they have to be amazing. This can still be a team that runs the ball pretty efficiently.
Your mom's lasagna actually gets the last word in addition to having just the best nickname here.
Lasagna.
Has Kenneth Gainwell been getting any reps? This just affords us the opportunity to let you know what Kenneth Gainwell did to some poor soul yesterday out on the practice field right in front of me and Chris. The poor dude was reduced to a ghost. Whoever it was.
Corey Trice.
Corey Trice. Oh, God.
He's had a really good camp. He's had a good camp.
This is not a reflection on Trice. It's very much a reflection on Kenny G, as he's called himself. Mm-hmm. And Kenny G was running right at Corey Trice to his right, and then just did this evil thing. That's my Barnacle Boy and Mermaid Man. I'm not sure which of the two does that. Is it Mermaid Man or Barnacle Boy that does the evil?
What
do you? Are you sure?
I think so.
No, it's not Doofenshmirtz.
It is Doofenshmirtz.
No.
Well,
okay, so we're watching our cartoon characters here, unless we get some help here from people. But Gainwell just cuts to the left so violently that he should have been. Yeah, it was just horrible, and the crowd went bonkers over this thing. The good stuff. He's got some talent. It is Mermaid Man. Yeah. I'm getting a bunch of Mermaid Man here. Look at all this Mermaid Man coming in.
I'm sticking with those.
It's not Doofenshmirtz. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I mean, it was rough. I think that was actually the first positive run for the offense in 11 on 11 yesterday, because the first two runs, Joey Porter Jr. had TFLs, one on Jalen Warren, one on Kaleb Johnson, and they weren't on the running back's fault. That was just Joey Porter Jr. taking advantage of some blocking. But yeah. It was I felt bad for Corey because again he's had a good camp, but he had him dead to rights and just spin move like right around him, right past him.
Captain Crunch comes in with a serious condescension and says Doofenshmirtz is from Phineas and Ferb, as if we don't know that.
We know where it's from.
Look at Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch looking down his nose at us. That's from Phineas and Ferb, you fools. Austin wants to know, WTF is Mermaid Man, LOL. You're disqualified. That's just how that goes. Mermaid Man was actually voiced by Ernest Borgnine, if memory serves, whereas Barnacle Boy was voiced by Tim Conway. Those are for people who go back.
Alert.
No, that's not. No. Those guys were legends. Like comic legends. I'm really dating myself with this reference. I need to stop.
Do you want to? I play NHL 25 online, and my character's name is literally not Patrick Star, but Hattrick Star.
Oh no! I mean, that's pretty good.
Because it also has, like, when you change it, it's got like multiple meanings. I think it's the perfect name.
When you play the NHL video games, do you require yourself to be the Sharks and try to win the Stanley Cup? But you have to do it as the Sharks.
Oh God, no! I just play.
That's the hardest thing.
I play probably the most toxic game on there, and that's World of Chill, which is just everybody joining teams, and it's chaos. It's not true hockey.
No, that's
chaos.
That's good stuff. I keep telling everybody that's the last question, but this one really is here. Mike points out that it is Evgeny Malkin's birthday. He's 39 years old today. Best game that I ever saw him play over the years. It's really hard to go away from some of the stuff that he did in the first Cup run, especially in the Carolina series. We're all thinking about that goal, that backhander over poor Cam Ward's shoulder.
Oh my gosh, that was
But the greatest thing that you can say about the greatest players, and Gino is one of those, is that you did it for 20 years and you're still doing it. Gino has 200 points in the past 3 seasons. Did you know that, Chris?
I didn't know that
3 seasons
right off the top of my head, but it does not surprise me at all. I know he's still been. It's not 2011, 2012, and Art Ross winning, Evgeny Malkin, but
right.
Man, sandwiched between, by the way, is my birthday between Evgeny Malkin and Sid both. I'm 5 days older than Sid, by the way.
Oh, yeah, everybody knows Sid's birthday because he's got the easiest birthday in the world to remember is 87. Are you kidding me?
And
he was literally born superstitious. Did you know that was Sid's birthday?
No, I didn't know.
August 7 of 87.
Yeah.
You know what?
His birthday's coming soon.
His birthday is coming soon. 87. Yeah, him and Gino have close birthdays and everything else here. All right, guys. When we come back, take care of a little bit of business here on the show. All right, so we have, I don't know how many memberships we have here. I thought I saw that we had a little bit of a surge over the past week or so while we were doing these shows. 2,054, yeah, a little bit. We need to get moving on this to get us up to 3,000. DKPS.net/join. Jordan comes in as a non-member and says, "Great show today. We appreciate you, Jordan. We would love for you to cross over the fence here. Talk to some of our people. Talk to some of our representatives. Your people can talk to our people and see if we can get you over here for 99 whole cents
a month
for all the shows and everything. If not, we're gonna go members only with all this stuff, and then you're gonna get mad, and you might as well come on over while we're just asking nicely, right?"
By the way, Matt Williamson and I tonight on Southside Beat too, 7 o'clock.
Oh yeah, I actually didn't know that. All right, I'm looking forward to that. Hey, ask Matt what he thinks about Will Howard.
Will Howard,
because Matt did a Scout's Eye show for us the other day, in which he told everybody what he thinks about Will Howard, and it went berserk viral. Not for good reasons.
Yeah.
There was all kinds of, "Hey, Matt, didn't you used to scout for Cleveland?" kind of comments in there.
Gosh.
No. So make sure you do check out Southside Beat tonight. That's live at 7 p.m. We will be back tomorrow with the Ramon Foster show at 2 o'clock, this show at 4, and then because Chris drew the short straw, at some point or other, we're going to do a members only thing after the night lights. It might not be on the facility because you have to get out of there.
Yeah.
But we'll whip up something where we can just touch base for a little bit of time. We're not making a big promise here.
Yeah, it will not be very long because it's a long night ahead of work.
Exactly. So Robert came in with 5 gifts today. Desiree with 5 as well. Same here for Jack. Nunzio dropped a couple of bucks on us. I'm trying to get his name up there. There it is. John with a gift. David with 10. Bert said, "I got your 10. Here's another 10. And Carrie with 1 right there. So thanks to all of you guys. Thanks to everybody who's become a member of this growing community. DKPS.net/join is the place to go. And Chris, enjoy your last night away from school buses and Latrobe Memorial.
I sure will.